You know what won't be funny is our top 10 right backs list because I'm stressed these days with my list. I'm scared I'm going to forget someone.
Great moving into the next
Yeah,
segment.
classic segue. I'm getting good at these now. So we've got top 10 right backs. We've done managers when the whole manager movement's happening. We did 5 goalkeepers 2 weeks ago. We've got a bit of a gap this week, so I thought we'd slide in our top 10 right backs in the world right now.
Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting one because I feel like I missed a few names in here, but that's the fun and games of our list.
Very interesting.
Do you want to go one for one?
Yeah.
Yeah. You happy to go first?
I'll go first. Number 10. I've got Molina.
Whew, that's good. I got him as well.
Yeah.
I feel happy for that.
Obviously, I know it was a while ago, but his World Cup performance was, I thought, really, really strong. I didn't really know who he was.
Neither.
Then I watched every Argentina game because of, obviously, my GOAT, Messi. But yeah, he was really, really good. Scored a banger against the Netherlands as well. But what I like about him at Atletico is, like, I've seen Simeone go to a 4-4-2 and he's played it right back. But then I've seen him switch to like a 3-5-2 or like a 5-3-2 with Morata and Griezmann up top. And I like his versatility they're the same, obviously people say they're the same sort of position, but right wing back, you're a lot more kind of higher, wider. And his ability to play both those positions well and not have like a drop in his form because he gets, if they're playing a 3 back, he's not getting caught too high up. So I love his ability to be able to play both those positions and to play under Simeone. You have to be very good both ways. Yeah, and he is that.
That was my point in different to where I was. Yeah, the big thing I like about him is he does both things very well.
Yeah,
like in a Simeone system, exactly. You have to be very strong defensively, but with this new style they're playing, he has to contribute something on the forward end. And you see him get involved, and obviously not like some of the other guys that play very good in triangle. He's not quite that level, but on the ball, very comfortable. Makes the right decisions. A good decision maker, which I think all Atletico players have instinctively in their brain.
Yep.
But yeah, defensively first. Same to you. I didn't quite know what it was all about until that World Cup. Like, yeah, this is a player here that I've got here. So yeah, very impressive. And since that World Cup, I think he's been one of the most consistent.
I think he came from Udinese to Atletico.
I think it was.
I think it was a bit like sort of like he had a lot of improvement in his game. But I mean, right now he's he's only picks him for the big games.
Exactly. So. He's one of those 6, 7 out of 10 players every game. He's not gonna give you a bad performance.
Yep.
Build number 9.
Are you doing? Is he your number 10?
He's my number 10 as well. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm happy.
Good start.
Agreed. Yeah.
Number 9, I've got Calabria.
He just missed out for me. Yeah, fair enough.
It's obviously their skipper. You said it well last week about AC. It's quite a average kind of team with obviously like Pulisic, Loftus-Cheek, these kind of guys. They've got a couple of star players like obviously Maignan and all these guys. But I think, he's a really good right back. Again, he can go up and down. And he's one of those players where, he's such a good leader on the pitch.
Yeah.
That when Milan have been struggling, like against Napoli, for example, it was a very tight game. Both teams had chances. And you needed like a player like Calabria just to kind of calm everything down a bit. He plays every game. He's hardly ever injured.
He's always there.
Yeah, always there.
First name team sheet.
For Italy as well. So, got him number 9.
I was very close to putting him in. Very close. He was someone I've been tossing up with this guy. I went Benjamin Pavard as 9, who, this is the thing.
Nice.
And this is maybe to your point about Molina, but the other way around. He could be classed as a centre-back because he does play right centre-back in the 3.
I was going to put an Inter one in there, but they kind of like Darmian sometimes plays there, Dumfries.
Well, I've got another Inter player in this list as well.
Another one. I like it.
They both are a little bit lower down because they're not always in a play because but it's Inter, right? You got to put some play because they're so good. And you know what I like about Pavard and the guy who I'm going to put in next as well? The delivery into the area is pristine. That's the thing with watching Inter, I've appreciated. Their delivery into the box is probably the best outside of Real Madrid. I don't think
both their wing backs.
Their wing backs and when the the Mkhitaryan sort of drift out wide. No wonder Lautaro scored so many goals and Thuram's getting so many goals. The delivery into the box is pristine. And the game we'll touch on later on, some of the deliveries in that wet condition to get him pinpoint. It's like, what can these guys not do? So Pavard, I know he's a little bit right centre back, right wing back. He can change around a bit, but he's been one of those consistent players. And you thought going to Inter, may his career just sort of disappear into the just vanish into the dust of Italian football from Bayern. But he's been a contributor for this top team and arguably the third best team in the world at the moment. So had to get him in there.
I regret not putting an Inter player in now. I should just put one of them in. But
there's three of them.
I originally had Dumfries at 9.
Yeah.
But then even in some of the big games, they've played Darmian out there. Even Pavard's shifted out there. So, but that's a good shout.
You're number 8.
Number 8, Kieran Trippier.
Oh, you get him lower. Okay. Yeah.
I know there's been a bit of a drop off the last kind of couple of weeks. I hope he doesn't drop off again like what happened last time.
Well, rumour has it happened a little bit higher.
So but kind of before the start of the season, you'd probably have him as the second best right back in the Premier League.
Yeah,
maybe even the best right back.
Yeah.
So obviously there has been a drop off, but again, he's come to that Newcastle side and he's been the exact player that they needed at that moment.
Yeah.
Someone that wanted to be there, not just for the money, but for the project and what they were trying to build. And, he's a consistent sort of 7, 8 out of 10 player.
Yeah.
His set pieces are really, really good. If it wasn't for how good Ward-Prowse was, we'd be saying for this guy to be on every single...
Absolutely.
For England. Number 8 for me.
Yeah, good for FPL as well. Number 8 then, I touched on it prior, I went Dumfries.
Yeah.
I think on his day, he's probably the best out of all three of them. The thing is, I think probably Darmian's preferred because he's more consistent, I think, in terms of puts a 6, 7 out of 10. But Dumfries at his best, and we saw at the World Cup as well. I think he was very good at that World Cup in terms of, this guy's actually a solid player. He's not just sort of an average player. And been very impressed, ever since he's, again, part of Inter Milan, right? The team that's lost one game in the league all season. Bit more progressive.
Yeah.
Not as defensive solid as some of the other interruptions, but very good both ways and quick.
Yeah.
Quick, very, very fast, which comes in handy. So, number 8, just ahead of Pavard, I think he's more of the X factor for me. That's why he's number 8 for me.
Yep, very nice. 7, I've got Mazraoui from...
You got him in. Yeah, nice, yeah.
I think him being out when he was out for that little bit, I think he had a bit of an injury. I think that hurt them. Obviously, they were looking at bringing in Trippier.
Yep.
But I think he's a really good right back. Again, can do both things really, really well. And with him being out with that injury, they missed him big time. They were shuffling it about. I don't even know who they were playing there. I think they might have changed formation. They might have gone 3-5-2 or something.
I'll have a look, but
he was a big out when he was injured, and he's just a brilliant right back. And when you're a right back for Bayern Munich,
says a fair bit about
So
let's see who they played.
I don't know who they even played there.
I put Lema at right back.
Yeah,
very versatile.
I know they brought in, is it Bowie from?
Yeah, he came in recently as well. Yeah,
as a bit of a replacement kind of thing while he was injured, but he's back now. So,
and Guerrero went right back for a bit as well. So just chucked a few names.
Playing a left footer.
Yeah,
right back,
no wonder that struck us
exactly.
So much. Yeah, fair enough. I went number 7. Maybe it's a bit probably could have switched 6 or 7 around, but I'll stay with it. I've got Di Lorenzo at 7.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
a little bit.
Nice.
Could be a little bit high, but again. I feel like there's some very good balls into the box that come from the Serie A.
Yeah.
This guy is always good. Never puts in a bad game. And that's a good sign of a right back. I feel like. And all these sort of players here that's high, they just got consistent performances. A lot of competition in that Italian back line, but I feel like someone that, could go in there if they have an opportunity for maybe DeMarco or something, might swing him out the other way, but always been good for Napoli.
Yep.
Consistent performer, a part of obviously a win last year, the Scudetto, so you've got to take that into account as well. Probably, like a lot of the Napoli players, had a bit of a drop-off this year, but I still reckon still one of the top right-backs in the world, the way he plays his football. So can't go past him for number 7.
Number 6?
Number 6 is...
Di Lorenzo. Number 6,
Like it.
Again, like you said it perfectly. Obviously, there's been a bit of a drop-off in probably all the Napoli players.
Yeah.
But you can't put that on a right-back. Again, he still does his job.
Yeah.
Still plays every week, barely injured. Can go forward and score an absolute banger here and there as well.
He's like
number 6.
My number 6, it doesn't look good after what I've just talked about them. I went Jules Koundé at 6. Ooh. This time last year could have been much higher.
Yeah,
but
he's not in mine.
And that's the thing, the drop has been bad.
There's so many mistakes, isn't he?
I got to give him some credit for last year though.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
Again, I probably should put Di Lorenzo 6 and him 7. But when he was on his form,
he was very good.
This is a guy that's big, strong, pacey, and someone that just I remember United going against Barcelona, I just felt like you don't want to go down that side. You just didn't want to go where Koundé was because he just has the ability to just command space. He's a bigger guy, bigger presence, and his challenge. He's got that ability to make a lunging tackle, not miss it, and he wasn't normally out of position. This year's a different story. There's a lot of mistakes.
And he's still got the pace to like keep up with
he can close down. And maybe it's a sign of he's just got the disease of everyone else on the team. It seems like they've always been cursed with each other. Recent weeks he's really struggled. That's why it's hard for me to put him this high. But last year was so remarkable. I feel like it'd be rude not to put him somewhere in this list. So he's a very high number 6.
Yep. No, that's good. Top 5s.
Top 5s.
Number 5, Danny Carvajal.
You put him in there? Okay.
Yeah. Again, he's one of those players where I used to do this. You look at the Real Madrid team sheet, you see Carvajal right back and you go, oh yeah, I reckon Mane could go after him or something like that.
Yeah.
But then in game, you're like, oh my God, like Carvajal again. So he's just one of those players. He's not technically he's not a Trent or, defensively he's just great. Going forward, he still can do. But he's been one of those guys that every single Madrid team in the last God knows how many years, he's been at right back. Yeah. He's always there. He always plays. Ancelotti always picks him. Zidane always picked him. All these managers always picked him and he always played. Same thing for Spain, and I think he'll probably go down as one of the most underrated right backs of all time. Yeah. Because yes, he's won everything, but he played with players like Modric and Kroos and Ronaldo and Benzema, and these guys will take the credit. Yeah. But a guy like Carvajal has always been there and has always played. Yeah. So
the super consistent.
Yeah. I couldn't leave him out of my top 5.
Yeah, I have a stinker. I was going to put him in, but maybe I've been too recent.
He's not like flashy. He just always plays.
That's the thing. I said the only thing because this year they're trying to phase him out with like Vasquez playing at fullback. So he's played a lot at the start of the year, and then they tried this different thing. So maybe I've been too harsh on him. I went Trippier at 5, still giving him the plaudits I gave him like a month ago. I'm backing him in. He's had some better performances recently. Yeah, Newcastle was a little bit back to where they were. Yeah, that's my number one quote in terms of Newcastle. Trippier was the turning point. That signing changed things. It changed huge perception. It changed momentum. It changed everything. That signing was like a statement signing of, again, he wanted to be there. He's an English talent, and he's a top. They took him away from Atletico Madrid, a top team in the world. Newcastle did that. So
they were 20th.
Yeah,
when they got him.
They got him along. And look what happens now. They've made Champions League. They've had some great nights in Paris. This year's not great, but they're turning it around. I think he's been, whenever he plays well, they normally play well.
They just play,
You look on the weekend, that assist to Bruno for that first goal, not many players pick that pass out. Yeah. Not many, and especially fullbacks can't really pick that pass out. Last year, I think a top 3 fullback, right back in the world, chopped off a little bit.
Probably the best in the Prem.
Yeah, probably the best in the Prem. Yeah. Loved his work, so I got him at number 5.
Yep. I think I've got him a bit too. I think I'm a bit harsh on him, to be honest.
It's fair though. It's been a dodgy start here.
Still. Number 4, Frimpong.
Yeah, agree with that. Yeah. Big jazz.
He didn't even play on the weekend. And
when he came on though,
when he came on, I know, because that pace is a joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, he's what Alonso has done with him, his ability to go forward and impact the game, but also defensively, he's like closing down sort of speed.
Yeah.
Even when you think you've gone past him, he's caught up to you. Yeah. The 3-5-2, it suits him and Grimaldo perfectly. And what his form along with that whole team's been amazing. And he's 20. What's he? 23. Something like that. He's still young.
He just feels like he's been around for so long. He's bounced around so many different teams. That's the thing that you raise that great point. Defensively in this system works really well, but this is a player I've said. Yeah, he was trying to transition into a winger, to a number 10 in the midfield at times. Never worked out. Yeah. And they finally landed a position at right wing back.
He might struggle in a back 4.
That's the thing. I think,
but so might Grimaldo. But it's you know what I mean.
But we've seen Pedro Porro, who I thought would struggle in a back 4. He's turned it around this year. Yep. Frimpong can do the same thing. If you get the 100%. Right management and if he keeps developing his game, this is one of those right backs that is not quite the Carvajals. It's more of a flashier player, but can definitely develop that consistent part of his game.
Yep.
This 100%. Year though, he has to be in every top 5, top 4 because he's been ridiculous.
100%. Yep.
The big 3 now. What order have we got our big 3 in?
I've got Hakimi at number 3.
I've got Hakimi at 3.
Yeah. Good. We're much closer this week with our list.
Hakimi is just that World Cup. Tick.
Unbelievable.
What he does for PSG. Tick.
Again, we both don't watch
No.
league.
I see enough
But
for Hakimi to...
always there.
Yeah.
You hardly ever hear him injured.
No.
His work at Inter was brilliant. Was at Madrid, obviously, but then, and you know, he's been a mainstay of that PSG team. Brilliant for Morocco.
Vision, IQ as well. I think it's
going forward defensively. You could make an argument that he's the best right back in the world.
I think on his day,
you could, yeah.
But Ryan, I think he's in the same sort of build as a Trent. I think Trent does it better, but they both have that ability to find the most ridiculous passes. They're quick. He's probably a better defender in terms of closing down and making that challenge.
Yep.
But what they both do, though, their IQ and their passing range is what separates them from the rest. And that's what was so big for Morocco, because he was not only closing and making the challenge, he's picking the ball up and pinging a ball to El Naziri and holding it up.
Getting assists and stuff.
It's ridiculous.
It just annoys me that he's at PSG.
Yeah, ruins his legacy a little bit.
You know, I don't want to watch. As good as a player is, I don't want to watch PSG.
If you're that interested, that'd be exciting.
Imagine. God.
Get him there. Jeez.
Bring him back.
Yeah. Go on, sign him up. I'm a fan of that. No, top two. I think we would be on the same track.
2, Trent.
Oh, no. I went Walker 2.
Oh.
Walker number 2.
I went Trent Alexander-Arnold number 2.
Wow.
Yep.
Not number 1. Not at the
I wanted to put him number 1 so badly, but I can't because of the amount of times I see wingers running past him just with ease.
True.
And he will go down as one of the best right backs to ever play in the Premier League, without a shadow of a doubt. But his defensive work sometimes it doesn't matter how good he is going forward at times. You know, Martinelli just takes the piss out of him. You know, there was so many times Martinelli it's one touch and he's past him. And his tracking back is not great.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But again, when you've got guys like Konate and Van Dijk covering you, you can show your talent going forward, and that's what he does.
Yeah. I think Kyle Walker probably will go down as the Premier League's all-time best right back.
Kyle Walker number 1 for me. Yep.
I think this season, Trent's been a better player than Kyle Walker.
He probably has, yeah.
I think Kyle Walker's slightly been off it. And the City back line, I thought, I've said it a few times, I thought they'll win the title off defence. It hasn't quite worked that way at all, to be honest. I think Trent's been very solid this year in terms of, the odd player will take the mick a bit, but there's some players that can't go past him. Like, in little fairness, like, you look at that first City game that the Eddie had. He had a great game in terms of he scored a goal, but people don't underestimate him and Doku. Doku was that was the peak of Doku's form he's had this season. And he had a few moments he got past him, but Trent was equally as good as laying the tackle. And I always point to that. When everyone has a go at Trent, I say, you watch the City game back for me, you tell me a better player in the first 45, 50 minutes than Trent.
Yeah, you're not
Because,
wrong.
a few times Doku got past him, but he was covering back and helping out. And then he scores this ridiculous goal. And how did Liverpool get the point at City that day? I think it was Trent. Because Doku could have had a field day and scored 2 or 3 at half time, but he didn't. And Trent scored a goal to tie it all up.
Yeah, you're bang on, to be honest.
And I know, and as a Liverpool fan, you obviously got to harp about Martinelli, because Martinelli's done him in a few times now.
Even just like wingers like Sheffield United's wingers and Burnley wingers on the weekend, they just breeze past him.
Yeah, that is true.
So, and it gets frustrating at times because some of it's just so basic.
Yeah.
Like Martinelli takes one touch, and okay, players can beat you for pace, that's fine, but it's closing down and his positioning is. Again, I wanted to put him 1 so bad, but Kyle Walker, when Reece James, Wan-Bissaka, Trent were on the rise, everyone was debating between them three who was the best. Kyle Walker's always been number 1. He's always been the best. He's been the best for probably 5-6 years, to be honest.
I think he'll go down as Premier League. You know, the all-time 11s. There's by time. Gary Neville's had too long on that 11, so they'll get him out of there.
Kyle Walker in.
Kyle Walker's one of always being consistent. I think this year though, Trent's been better player this season, which probably goes against my normal go for the last 18 months or so. Probably the better over the last 18 months as well. But I love a bit of Trent in my life. So
I love Trent, but I just can't put him 1. I just can't do it.
You can't do it to yourself.
I want to, but Kyle Walker's he's the only player in the world that can stop Mbappe.
And Vinny.
And
Vinny's touching that as well. Vinny's the only player that Vinny's never gotten the better of is Kyle
When Trent
Walker.
plays Vinny, it's raps.
Yeah.
So
Good point.
But, as you said, this year he probably has been better.
Very impressive with Trent this year.
Yeah.
Let's go over our list one more time. I went Molina 10, Pavard 9, Dumfries 8, Di Lorenzo 7, Koundé 6, Trippier 5, Frimpong 4, Hakimi 3, Walker 2, and Trent 1.
Good list.
And you went.
I've got Molina 10, Calabria 9, Trippier 8, Mazraoui 7, Di Lorenzo 6, Carvajal 5, Frimpong 4, Hakimi 3, Trent 2, and Kyle Walker number 1.
Same top fours, just little
Yeah.
little tweak. That
Little tweak at the top.
Yeah.